Hello, hello, hello. We are making a video together with the baby dog and I. And it is a wonderful, wonderful evening tonight. It is 9:27 p.m. Yes, and it is very nice. Yes. Look how the baby dog is relaxed. Yes, he is relaxed on my pillow there. And that's very nice there. Yes, it is nice. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't want to disturb you there. I'm sorry, God. So, yeah, with the disco light on, it's very nice. But the baby dog, he will not move off my side of the bed because the Stafford chairs, that's what I think it is with them, they don't see the point in moving. So if I just say move here, you want to sit somewhere else? Can you sit somewhere else? Can you sit over here instead? No, you see, this that doesn't make sense. So then he's not gonna do it. Yes, he is not gonna do it. But if Paul has a tortilla chip, you want a tortilla chip? Paul has a tortilla chip for the baby dog? Tortilla chip? No, he's not even interested in the tortilla chip. But usually Paul has the tortilla chip there in the corner, and he has a little jar with tortilla chips in it that he cut himself with a scissors or knife. I don't know how he cut it. And he has to give the baby dog always 2 tortilla chips, one up front and then the other one to lure him over, and that works very well. So one up front is always the amuse-gueule, the the gourmet tasting experience of a very simple non-gourmet tortilla chip. And then, so just so that he gets interested in the second one. And then he lures him in with the second one, and he lures him over to his side over there, over to his pillow, and then the baby dog can lie down snuggled up with Paul. And then I have space here on my side of the king-size bed to lie down. I have about not more than 2 feet of space, really. So, but we slept in this bed also with a very oversized Great Dane and a large European Basset Hound too. So it's doable, it works, but it's not totally easy with a dog that has long legs. So for anyone who wants a dog, and Paul and I talked about that earlier, people who want a dog, they should also allow the dog to sleep in bed with them and not give them a separate cushion or specific dog bed or something. We have never bought a dog bed. That's ridiculous. And they're even expensive. It doesn't make any sense. The dog needs to sleep in bed with you, because dogs are like little babies, and they feel isolated and they feel abandoned and lonely if they cannot be in bed with their best friends and their caregivers. Okay, so they have to be in bed with the caregivers, with the mothers and fathers, adoptive parents. So the dog feels like he is part of the family. He feels like he is our baby. Okay, and that's the truth. And so we have to make his life as wonderful as possible, as loved as possible, as comfortable as possible, as joyful, as pleasant, as pleasurable as possible. Okay? That is our conscience, that's our responsibility, our duty to be of service for our adopted baby animal or adult animal. Okay, so, and that's how we all should view our animals, dogs and pigs and cows and all beings. Okay, so if you have one of those, they are your children, they are your babies. And there's a couple on X, they have a farm sanctuary where they rescue pigs and cows and other farm animals. They rescue them, and they're connected with different animal groups also, I'm sure, connected with Ingrid Newkirk. And Ingrid Newkirk will, when she knows that there are people that are really serious about animal rights and taking really good care of animals, then she will have them in mind, and she will call them when there is another animal that was rescued and needs a good home. So, and that's what I would like to do in the future, if that is possible, if we can do that out there in paradise. Okay, not beyond. Here on earth, there are places that are absolutely paradise. They're like Twilight Zone paradise. Beautiful places out there. And that's what I want to do. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sneeze like that and startle the baby dog. Yeah, didn't mean to startle the baby dog very much. No, that was not my intention. No. And, entzücken means enchanting. Now he wants to kiss, yeah, but I can't read over there. I can't reach right now. So then I would have to be lying on top of his back, and I don't want to do that because I'm way too heavy. So, but we're gonna kiss later when I'm in a better position here. This is not gonna work right now. But for a video, that will do. And Paul is gonna come in a moment and get a tortilla chip, and then we can get settled better. Yeah, that's what we have to do. And they also will do this. They will lie down somewhere because they link up. If they lie down somewhere, then they can get a tortilla chip or something, and they remember that, and they think that's perfectly good. No, they don't know that this is kind of like a little bit of some kind of beggary situation. I don't want to use the word extortion, that's a little too extreme. But, you know, I love extortion. That's meant well. Yeah. So it is a beggary situation. Remembering tortilla chips, yes, that will happen when he is on my side of the bed. Then there will always be 2 tortilla chips coming up. And that's perfectly okay. Yes, that is perfectly okay. Look what a beautiful dog this is. That is a beautiful dog. And look how good the ears look. Ears look so nice. Those are the natural ears, and they are so beautiful. Wonderful. Yes. Very thin ears, like a chamois. Very beautiful. I love that. The ears, they feel so good. And they're like this for a reason, to prevent rain from falling into the ear canal. Because if rain falls into the ear canal, then that can cause an infection. So yeah, they have to have the ear flaps over the ear canal to protect that, all of that. And I guess they tend to have ear infections with mites, which he has, and I wipe his ear canals and the inside under the ear, all the way under the ear into all the crevices. I wipe that with a baby wipe, and I have peachy scented baby wipes that are very, very nice, from Parents' Choice, from Walmart. Peachy scent, shea butter scented, and they smell like peach, and they are the absolute best of all natural ingredients, and feels really good on the skin. Very, very nice. And sometimes when that's persistent with the itching, then I also massage Equate Vapor Rub into the ears. That can even be put into the ear canal, but not like, I wouldn't put it very deep in, but just like with a little finger, massage gently onto it. And that is very, very helpful with the itching. That puts the fire of the itching out, and that's really, really good for a dog, any being, and also for mosquito bites, for dogs and people. And the other day I got stung when we were at the other house. I got stung by a wasp into my hand, top of my hand, and into my breast. Oh my gosh, that was something. I was doing gardening, and there is a wasp nest, I didn't even know. And I was reeling out some weeds out of that because I had to rearrange the pots. And a wasp attacked me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then I didn't even know what that was. And then I feel like this wasps, they vibrate actually. They're very, very muscular, and they vibrate. It's amazing. And those are just insects, and they're such powerhouses. Amazing. And I screamed, and then I said, I'm sorry. And then the wasp was, I didn't injure the wasp. I was just shaking something off, and I guess it was very quick, everything. I forgot now in which order. But I'm making a video. You can give the baby dog a tortilla chip and move him over. Can you do that? Okay. I'm not showing you. Give a tortilla chip so I can lie down. Can you do that? Yeah, he's eating an Oreo cookie, and he shouldn't be doing that. That is not a good idea. No. When someone has type 2 diabetes, that's not a good idea to eat an Oreo cookie. Okay. But some people are addicted to that kind of stuff. I didn't want to show him. That's it. I'm addicted to all of that, but I don't eat it because I have high cholesterol. So, here, tortilla chip, come get it. Yes, he has to take one first, and then he has to lure lure in with the other one. Yes, he has another tortilla chip, but only if you get up. Yes, that is the requirement for it. Yeah, come. Yes, the tortilla chip there. Yes, there is another tortilla. Get him all the way, all the way there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Yes, this is good. Okay. How do we do this? Do we do this like that? Oh no. Excellently. Excellently. Okay. Okay. It's not easy. So, yeah, we can do it like this. Okay, that's good. Oh yeah, that's nice with the red light. Red light's real good for you. It's real good for your nerves. So, here's what I did for the wasp stings. That was something else now. That was holistic healing astronaut level of natural healing abilities. That was so incredibly amazing what I did there. I was at the other house digging up the wasp stings me. It was everything went very fast. Then I wiped my hand on my breast, and then the wasp bit me not only in the hand but also in the breast. Then I shook the wasp off, screaming, and then I apologized, and then I saw the wasp was still okay, and I'm glad the wasp was still okay, because I care about all beings. The wasp was just defending the nest, right? The wasp doesn't know why I'm doing this. So then I thought, okay, I gotta act quickly before this swells up and all of that. And I already had made myself a foot bath with lots of leaves, like the day or 2 days before that even. So I still had all of this tea, please don't do that to me, Blauer Gottblätter. Oh man, the hearing aids, they make screaming sounds. I don't like it. That's not consumer friendly, by the way. Okay, so that should be against the law to make hearing aids that squeal like that. I mean, absolutely. My eye looks kind of green like this, like I have eyeshadow, but I don't know. It's just it's from the disco light. So, yeah, what I did is I took the leaf bath that was already sitting there for 2 days and really saturated with the leaf material, and I took like a handful of these already partly wilted, rotten, squishy, saturated leaves, and I packed them onto my hand and onto my breast, and I put the t-shirt over it to hold that in place. And then I just sat there like that, let that soak into those stings. And immediately worked. It immediately helped. I could feel it. I could feel how the essence from the leaves, including the English laurel, lots of English laurel leaves, and English laurel contains medicinal properties that are very, very powerful, that are anti-itching and also anti-inflammatory, and that are pain reducing. It's really, really amazing, and nerve calming and all of that. So also local anesthesia type of analgesic action a nerve calming action. Very amazing. And I just sat there for like half an hour and let that soak in. Really, really good. And don't do this, don't continue to do that. Don't continue to do that. Please, don't continue to do this. Don't continue with the hearing aids. Please don't do it. Don't do it. Oh man. Man, that bothers me, the hearing aid sound. Oh man. I'm highly sensitive, and these screeching sounds, they're just awful for the nervous system. It just so upsetting, and I don't even have the words for it. It's just so incredibly nerve-wracking. That's what it is. I don't like it. I wished Elon Musk would create hearing aids that those would not make those over-volumed sounds, over-amplified sounds that are like speaker screeching sounds, or worse than any kind of distortion, any kind of sound distortion. I mean, the absolute worst possible sounds anyone can imagine that are totally unnatural. A sound like this would never occur in nature. Sometimes we can hear crickets, or we can hear certain insects or other animals making they can make very high-pitched sounds, but they have an organic tone. It's still an organic tone. And bats, for example, make very, very high-pitched sounds. Bats have a sound that is so high-pitched that it's outside of our perception range. And it never feels uncomfortable, ever. Okay, when I'm around bats, I rarely hear them. Sometimes I hear their sounds. So some bats, they have a certain range. Okay, most of those sounds I don't perceive, but sometimes I perceive a very, very high-pitched squeak or something from a bat, and it never feels, none of their sounds feel artificial or uncomfortable, but the hearing aids, they feel unbelievably horrific. Horror movie. Horrific is that. It should be against the law for the hearing aids to make these type of sounds. If anything happens to brush against them, or he puts headphones on, that shouldn't make those sounds at all. And then he had hearing aids, and that's a complete scam. He had hearing aids from the California, like from Medi-Cal, I think it's called. And he had to go to a specific place, had to even drive there for 2 hours to this specific place to pick up these prescribed hearing aids. And those prescribed hearing aids, now that's a story by itself. Oh God. Those prescribed hearing aids, they are a complete scam. They charge the government our tax money. They charge them over $2,000 for those hearing aids. And those hearing aids are the absolute worst hearing aids in the whole world. They don't even work, and anything that touches it, it squeals worse. than any of these other hearing aids that he has. And then what happened was, then they would start to squeal on their own, sitting on the table and stuff like that. And one day, because I am so sensitive to these squealing sounds, one day I get up, I hear the squealing, and I knew it. It's the it's the scam hearing aids. I knew it. And I was looking for them. There they are on the table. I picked them up. I threw them on the floor and I stepped on it. And I hollered because that is so awful for me. I mean, I either have to walk out of the house or I have to destroy them, right? There's no other option left. So that's what I did, and then and I made a real big stink about this. I was so mad that Paul didn't even, he was very upset about it, but he can't argue with the hearing aids being absolute crap, right? He can't argue against that, and he knew it. And then he says, they cost over $2,000. How can you? Well, they are total crap, right? That's what they are. They're not even worth a penny, okay? But they're charging the government over $2,000 for those hearing aids. That are, I don't even know where they're made. It's like just some kind of, probably, I think they're made in the United States, but I don't know what these people are thinking when they're making something like this. They were not made to be good. Okay, that's for sure. It's a complete ripoff. That's what it is to the government. And there's a lot of those things that are going on. And that's what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going after. That's what they don't want in this country. They don't want to become more and more indebted to China and just, or to the Federal Reserve or whatever, and completely bankrupt the United States with bullshit like that. Okay, that's just ongoing bullshit like that. So they have to clean this up. This must be cleaned up, or this country is not gonna survive. It will become anarchy. It will become a war zone. Okay, I don't think anyone wants that to happen. So, well, it's very irritating that there are so many people still that I see that if I talk to them, they go like, yeah, but I don't like those people. Because they're so incredibly brainwashed. It's because they were told not to like those people. Okay? It's very irritating, all of that. We talked about all of this today in length, about the global matrix of organized crime. Okay, that is, there are about 100 people that are the string holders, and those are the wealthiest of all. They're not even declared. They don't declare their wealth. Okay, their wealth is not anywhere publicly registered. Because those are people, they're already the trillionaires, okay? On cost of innocent people, innocent beings, innocent animals. Okay, that's what's going on. Those are the ones, the string holders of corruption, exploitation, enslavement of animals and people. Those are the ones. Worldwide. This is a worldwide string holder matrix. And they're bringing all of this on. Okay, I don't know. George Soros is most likely one of them, or at least a right-hand collaborator with them. Okay, so they have an entire hierarchy of collaboration. The ones all the way on the top don't get their hands dirty in anything, and they will never be seen. Those are completely obscured people whose names are not even known by anyone. That's what's going on, okay? That's a fact. And that's really bad. We were talking about this in length, and obviously it's crystal clear the human species has these types, okay? So, and those types that see opportunities of corruption and enrichment on cost of others. They see that they're looking for it, and that's all their brain can do. That's how their brain is geared. Constantly looking for corruption opportunities. And those people exist, and there's a lot of those. I don't know how high the percentage is. Probably 20% of the world population consists of those people. Some much worse than others. And it's enormously irritating, and these people they have to be held accountable, and they have to be put in insane asylums, because I view it as insanity. So I don't see that as some kind of healthy mental state. Okay. Some of those people need to get the death penalty. Because some of those people are just too dangerous. Those are dangerous masterminds, string holders. Very dangerous for the world. Not just toxic, but those people are so cunning and smart in a cunning way. Some might be geniuses in a cunning way. Those are dangerous people. Okay, there's no other way to say it. And they will always try to bribe people. They will always try to have a price for people. If you do this, then I'll give you this, and here is 50% upfront. I'll give you the other 50% later. And that's how they function, and that's how they work through life like this. Okay, they live on the mass brains that are corrupt. They live on the corruptibility of humans. That's what they live on. That's their bread and butter. Okay, they live on people having a price. That's really, really awful. But those are not the only ones that irritate the heck out of me. There are other people that irritate me very, very badly. And that's the people that have a price, and that's the people, and not only those, that's also extremely annoying. But I guess what irritates me, I don't know why that is. Maybe that's some kind of idiosyncratic aversion or idiosyncratic hate or paranoia or something. But what really bothers me the most are people that believe propaganda. Okay? People that believe propaganda, they bother me the most. People that can be brainwashed into religions, and that makes me very nervous. Makes me very nervous seeing that in the world. Okay, people being that brainwashed. Because if there weren't people that would be brainwashed in the world, these string holders would have absolutely no leverage at all. They couldn't do anything. The reason why these string holder assholes and cunning conniver people, the reason why they make so much money on cost of others is because of other corrupt people that have their price and the masses believing propaganda. Okay. If the masses didn't believe the propaganda, then if the masses would say, oh, wait a minute, that's corrupt, right? That makes the world suffer. I'm not going to do it. I'm not just talking about not having a price. That's all part of it. But in particular in regards to politics, the masses jumping on board with, let's use a drastic example. A cartel string holder that traffics babies, that has babies cut out of people's wombs and then sells them. And he makes trillions of dollars with that. He is publicly known for that and now running for president. Just to use a real ridiculous example. Obviously, if everyone knows that, they will probably not vote for that. Most people are not that bad, right? That they would vote for that guy. But just to bring this, to make this scenario very loud and clear. He runs for president. He has a great campaign that like he shows his muscles. He looks good, right? And the women fall for him. It doesn't matter what he does, cutting children out of people's bodies. No, he looks good. He knows how to manipulate the public, make himself look good, say the right things to the public, compliment people, and they fall for it. That's what I have a problem with, okay? You understand? This is it can't get any more clear than this example, right? But obviously in reality, if most people knew this is a trafficker, they wouldn't vote for him. But a trafficker, let's say a trafficker would run for president, or a collaborator to a trafficker, most likely, right? Joe Biden, okay, and Hunter Biden, collaborators to trafficker cartels. They run for office, and because they are promising the traffickers, okay, like total free pass with their corruption. So the traffickers will pay for their campaign. You understand how that works? And they will hire market psychologists that know you, that know how your brain functions. They know everything about you. They've studied you, studied all of our demographics. They studied how people function, also how individuals function in these demographics. They studied people inside and out, not for anything good, not to help them psychologically. No, to outsmart them, to trick them, to outsmart them for an industry. that they work for, that the market psychologists work for and get paid millions of dollars for. Okay, that's what's going on. And these market psychologists, of course, they use the internet like an all-you-can-eat buffet. They have everything there that they need to see. And so they have all of the data, all of the information. They have individual people's lives data. They know everything about you, your sex patterns, every single thing. It's all recorded. It's all. I don't even care anymore. I'm not worried about it anymore. I live my life. I fart and do everything, right? And I don't care if the computer is there next to me and the computer is turned off, but it's recording. I don't give a hoot about it anymore. I used to care about this. It is what it is. It's a revolution, which brings yin and yang with it. Okay, so I put up with that because I want that. I want technology, because eventually technology is gonna run the world and not humans. So that's why I put up with all of that, with the spying and all of that stuff. And people laughing about me, my private lives, my farts and my burps and masturbating. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube. Will probably be banned. Well, whatever. But we are animals. Yes, we are. Okay. It's just in case someone didn't know that yet. We are mammals. We have a sex drive. Yes, we have sex. Yes, we have needs, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't know why the human species has ever thought there's something wrong with it. Why they've felt ashamed about it. They want to think of themselves as sort of gods or something, or be like above, like that Heaven's Gate guy. He thought that sex is bad, so he would kick people out if they had sex in his court. It's awful sad, all of that. But that's the Heaven's Gate guy that's just a complete and extreme form of religious, I don't know how they call it, piety or prudeness or religious shame of being a mammal with mammalian needs. Okay, so, and just because one of my haters called me prude. I'm not prude, right? You know that. Because I said that I am against sadistic and masochistic stuff. Okay, I'm against the bondage stuff. So he called me prude because I'm against the bondage stuff. Bro, I'm against violence. This has nothing to do with the sexual part of it. I'm against violence. Absolutely against violence. I'm against sadistic actions. I'm against masochistic actions, whether these people do this voluntarily in clubs or whatever, or in their beds. I don't care what people do in their private lives to each other, not to that extent. Okay, it's like, that's your private sex life. Just don't do it to a child or animal. Don't involve innocent beings into it. But on a wider perspective, in my taste perspective, I'm against it because I don't want you to do it to yourself either. Okay? Because I care about all beings. I care about all life. I don't want a man to get himself a dominatrix that kills him for video. No, I don't want you to do that, okay? But it's usually men that kill women. That's a fact, a statistical fact. Okay? I don't want men to kill women. I don't want men to torture women, even if they want that. I don't want anyone to hurt anyone or hurt themselves. That's my view on it. It has nothing to do with prudence. It has nothing to do with piety or with any kind of religious stuff. I'm not religious. This has to do with conscience, with ethics, with morals. Morals that come from the heart, that come from a mother instinct. I don't want anyone to hurt themselves, okay, or anyone else. That's where that comes from. So I'm against violence. End violence. I don't care whether there is that violence is woven into people's sexual activities or not, okay? It doesn't matter whether that's part of your personal sexual orientation choices or whatever, okay? It doesn't matter whether it's not sexual or whether it is sexual. End the violence, okay? That's what this is about. The robots, they're going to end all the violence, okay? And I'm looking forward to that. Really do. Really looking forward to this. This is going to be a better world. This is going to be a good world. This is going to be a world where we can finally heal. But it's very annoying and very sad for me to see that the masses of people are so easily impressed with some jerk or easily swayed and brainwashed into believing something like what the hater said. Like, if the hater says that to a teenage boy or teenage girl, they will be impressed with that, and they will think, oh, I should not be prude, okay, that's not cool. So they will go along with that BS. That's very unfortunate. And I feel terrible for these young beings, okay? And most of them, they just don't know better. They're very, very young, and it's irritating. And it is also very sad for me to see that. But what's really irritating is when older people that should know better, that already had some years of experience of observing and viewing and seeing how bad some people are, when they go along with something that's just total bullshit, when they go along with Heaven's Gate, or they think sex is bad, right? That's brainwash, okay? Or when they go along and go with the bondage people and think that if they didn't do it, they would be prude, right? I mean, that's equally bad. So, or when people say, oh, you can't say anything against Islam, then you are bigoted. So that's how they get people. That's how the market psychologists literally get people's brains. They link up two things that have nothing to do with one another. They link up Islam and violence with tolerance, which has nothing to do, literally nothing to do with one another, because there is not a speck of tolerance in Islam, okay? Just want to make this very crystal clear to people, just in case they don't know it yet. Islam has no tolerance for anything that's not Islam. Islam is all about human trafficking and violence. And that's what I'm against. So I'm against Islam for that reason. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And I don't care if someone calls me bigoted, but a teenage boy or girl, they will be terrified to be called bigoted. They will be terrified to be humiliated, looked down on, shunned, rejected. All of that. And that's what the market psychologists specifically target. They target young people. They target religious people, certain demographics. Their worst enemies are free thinkers, because they can't influence those. And that's why religion has also been perpetuated deliberately, also by governments, governmental incentives given to perpetuate religious cults and groups, in particular large religions like the fundamentalist Christians. So fundamentalism and also other Christian type of branches. Okay. Why do they give incentives for that? Because the corporate agenda, mafia, as I used to call it, or we can also call it, which is a better word, it's a longer term, the global network of organized crime. Okay, so that's a much better, much more clear. Paul was really upset about the terms I used. He said, that's not the mafia is Italian. I said I used this word only. I took it from, he says they're called the cartels now. But the cartels, it's not the individual cartels. That's what we were arguing about. It's not the individual cartels that are running the global network. Okay, the global network are the ones running the cartels. Okay, cartels means little wheel of corruption, right? Little pockets. I'm talking about the global network of organized crime. And there are about 100 string holders that are running this, that are all the way on the top. And they have complete insight into all these filaments of their corruption, into all of these subgroups. And they always work with extortion and with bribe money. So that's what they work with. The mafia functioned exactly the same way. But okay, it's not the mafia, this name, and that's, if it's confusing, then I'm not going to use that word anymore. I will just have to take a deep breath and say the long thing. The global network of organized crime. Okay, now we got that correctly. Okay, and they are running all of this. They're running all of the cartels. They're running the crime networks, the different crime networks. They're running the underground world, the underworld of crime, of corruption and crime and organized crime. They orchestrate the overworld crime, the overworld of corporate corruption and corporate crime, that they're completely orchestrating, and they have their hands on the medical industry, on the pharma industry, the military complex, all of that. Okay, but If you have the courage to say, no, I'm not going to take your bribe money, then they have one less person they can manipulate. If you have the courage, teenager or adult or older person, if you have the courage, bring up the courage to say no to extortion, to say no to humiliation, to say, go ahead, humiliate me. I'm not going to change my ways. I'm not going to become corrupt just because you are threatening to kick me out of your stupid religion or your political parties or your alcohol and drug parties. No, I want nothing to do with it. If you have the courage to say that, then they have one less person to use as a slave. Okay, and that is the truth. The number is coming up. 5555. Oh, blue God. Blue God says this is the truth. It's the truth what Nicola said. Okay, it is the truth. So don't be part of it. And I see more and more people are not part of it anymore. And that's how we bring this global network of organized crime down. Peace and love for all living beings.